Chapter 387. As soon as she was done, Shadow dragged her to see Yao Fei and Jason. After soaking in the pool water, the two had recovered from their vegetative state. However, their minds were in a mess. Barbara and Shadow could only tie them up and wait for Sia, the wise person. Bellied lowly Raven to take a look. I don't know these things. I was born with my magical powers. Raven lowly pretended to glance at it and shook her head to show that she did not understand. How envious! Thea was born with powerful magic. She felt like this world was full of cheats. There weren't many people who studied magic as hard as she did. The demon princess said that she could blast her enemies to ashes. She had plenty of practical experience, but she didn't have any theoretical knowledge. Thea could only draw her own conclusions. Their souls were damaged before. Now, with the help of the pool water, their souls are complete. However, this is a supplement, not a repair. The original soul and the new soul will fight fiercely. They will be confused for a while. When their own soul devours the foreign soul, they should be able to wake up. Thea explained her judgment to them. She didn't care if they understood or not. She knocked them out with a finger each. No one could help with the soul fusion. She could only rely on herself. After dealing with the two, Talia brought a group of people and dragged the demonized ninja master over. She wanted to see if the old man could be saved. The old man's eyes were red. He made a groaning sound in the air. It took 4 or 5 people to pull on the iron chain to barely hold him down. It was such a pity that a hero of a generation had fallen to such a state. Thea sighed. She used her psychic power to sense the old man's soul. Then, she used her magic to wander around his body. Can he be saved? Batman and Talia asked at the same time. It was just that the two of them had different thoughts. Batman was very respectful to this teacher of his. Although the two of them had been enemies many times, they had never killed each other. Talia's feelings toward her biological father were much more complicated. She felt hatred, jealousy, fear, and a bit of father-daughter relationship. But more than that, she wanted the old man to die quickly so that she could take over the Assassin's Alliance. Facing their complicated gazes, Thea roughly thought about the methods she knew and gently shook her head. He's different from Yao Fei and Jason. His demonization is too deep. This kind of constitution can't be removed. But it can be suppressed. Thea said as she drew several mysterious symbols on Ninja Master's forehead and arms. The beast-like Ninja Master instantly calmed down and fell asleep. Thea looked at Batman. My spell can keep him calm. If you want him to regain his consciousness, you will need more suppression methods. You can ask the Sky Eye Society for some anti-magic metal and make 2 bracelets for him to wear. He will wake up again, but he can't soak in the pool anymore. Optimistically, he only has 10 years left. After listening, Batman pondered for a long time and nodded. He couldn't leave a ninja master in the lurch. But even a fool would know how difficult it was to get something from the Heaven's Eye Association. The anti-magic metal was their weapon against superhumans. Based on Batman's understanding of Amanda, he wouldn't be able to get it without paying a huge price. However, he was a hero of justice, so he couldn't steal it. Batman lowered his head and pondered over the chips in his hands, calculating how he could get his hands on it. Seeing that they were all okay, Thea could finally breathe a sigh of relief. She turned her head and saw the two-faced Lolita looking at her. Are there many people like you in this world? Raven asked without rhyme or reason, but Thea knew that she was definitely not asking about her appearance, but whether there were many people who knew magic. There shouldn't be many, Thea said frankly. Except for a few immortals, no one in modern society could play with magic. This thing had a bright future, but it was not as powerful as a submachine gun before it took shape. The two-faced Lolita was a little embarrassed. She said with a troubled face, "Can you teach me? I learn things very quickly. I have to teach a disciple again?" It wasn't that Sia hadn't thought of absorbing the black-bellied Loli's magic, but she was different from Shazan. She had inherited the magic from the Three-Palace demon. She was born with a strong evil aura. Without any blood relationship, she couldn't control it. Thea looked at Raven. The little girl looked at her a little nervously. How old are you? 9. Raven Lolita looked like she was an adult. Thea almost burst out laughing. This little girl was two-faced, arrogant, and very good at complaining. Thinking about it carefully, she was quite similar to Thea's character. And the key point that was different from Billy Batson was that she was a beautiful girl. So it was said that appearance could really determine one's fate. Well, you can live with me for a while. Thea didn't say anything, but she had already agreed. Raven was different from Damien. She had a huge amount of magic, but she didn't dare to use it because she was afraid of the dark power in it. Thea felt distressed when she thought of the original spacetime. With no one to teach her, she had wasted a mage account with great potential. In fact, there were some tricks in the process. As long as she gave some pointers, Raven's strength would develop rapidly without any side effects. Although there were few magic classes in modern society, there were always a few. The use of magic had changed from the rough and explosive type to the delicate and simple type. Modern magic was most suitable for Raven, who had a lot of magic but poor control. A few outsiders looked at them from afar. They saw Batman and Talia talking in low voices. In the end, he sighed helplessly and walked slowly toward them. Talia turned her head and returned to the Alliance team. In the end, Talia gave up on her man and son and chose power. Thea sighed. She didn't have any say in Talia's choice. She just felt that this woman was also a ruthless person. Or it could be said that after living in the Assassin League for so many years, the position of the organization in her heart was more important than anything else. Let's go. Batman's voice was as calm as usual. He, who was proficient in psychology, might have already seen through Talia's ambition. Thea didn't mind. This trip to Nanderbat was a busy one. Other than understanding the function of the God of Death staff and adopting a little lowly, she didn't gain anything. After opening a portal to the outskirts of Gotham and a portal to Star City, they waved goodbye. Thea led the black-bellied lowly, Shadow, and Yao Fei through the portal and returned to Star City. Your teleportation skills are not bad, but the total amount of magic is a little low, the lowly said with a little pride. After that, she opened a dark portal and raised her eyebrows at Thea proudly. Chapter 388. 3 black lines appeared on Thea's forehead. This child was not cute at all. Your portal is shaking too much and the landing point is not stable. She was now very experienced in dealing with naughty children. She went on and on about this and that. She took advantage of Raven's lack of basic knowledge and pointed out 4 or 5 problems, completely dispelling Raven's arrogance. However, she did not just beat her down. She even complimented her appropriately, causing the little girl to pout before raising her head again. You have good taste. The proud Raven took off her hood, revealing a slightly pale face. She kept looking at the crowd on the street. I think your father still needs some time to rest. He should be able to recover in about 2 months. No matter how one looked at it, Shadow's relationship with Yao Fei was closer than that with Jason. Before leaving, Thea checked old Yao again before returning home with Raven. She found Damien, who was practicing his sword, and introduced him to Raven. Come, I have a mission for you. Tell this little sister everything that I taught you before. Thea gathered the 2 children together and went back to her room to take a shower and prepare for bed. She could still hear the 2 naughty children's discussion from afar. You little thing, you know magic too? Only Raven did not eat bean buns as dry food. What? Don't look down on me. Do you dare to compete with me? Accompanied by the sound of a sword being drawn. This must be Damien, who practiced both magic and martial arts. Thea could not be bothered to listen to the 2 naughty children bicker. Both Raven and Damien knew their limits and would not get out of hand. She was very confident in this. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. Jason Todd was young and had a strong will to live. He woke up earlier than Yao Fei. When he learned that Batman still adhered to the principle of not killing and did not avenge him, he left Gotham alone with a depressed expression. Yao Fei, on the other hand, was not as good as Jason in terms of age, experience, or potential. Thea had to treat him again before he finally woke up in 2 months. The father and daughter hugged each other and cried. When he found out about Thea's ability, he was also shocked. His reaction was similar to death knells. He didn't expect Oliver's sister to be so powerful. In Raven's eyes, Thea's magic power was only passable, but in the eyes of ordinary people, she was already unbelievably powerful. The father and daughter reunited for a few days. Yao Fei knew that his daughter now had a job and a goal in life. He was very happy for his daughter. One morning, he left a letter and left Star City alone. Oliver, who she expected, did not appear. She couldn't ask Amanda. Thea had to pretend that she didn't know that he was still alive. She didn't know where Oliver had run off to. She had too many things to worry about and was quickly distracted by other things. Thea had been in the metropolis for a week. As an outstanding entrepreneur in the metropolis and even in the United States, the number of social events she had to attend was unimaginable. Most of the time, she could use her doppelganger to attend meetings while her real body slept at home. However, there were times when she had to be present in person. For example, the venue she was in right now was an internal meeting. The full name of the meeting was National Security and Superman-Related Affairs Committee. This was not a tea party where everyone invited Superman to chat and chat. This was a small meeting where a group of people closed the door to figure out how to deal with Superman. Regardless of whether she was a hero of the government or an outstanding entrepreneur, Thea had to attend this meeting. The outside world was sunny, but this place was deep underground. The walls were covered with lead for fear of being heard by Superman. Thea was dizzy as she listened to the speech of a certain general on the stage. What if Superman flies into this room and kidnaps one of us? Will he abide by the Constitution? Does he understand our democratic system? Do we have the means to protect ourselves? The impassioned general didn't expect anyone to answer him. His speech was extremely long, but to sum it up, he had to develop a weapon that could deal with superhumans. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to sleep after fighting for his country for half his life. Thea had no impression of this person, but seeing that he was so scared that his legs were cramping, she knew that he was definitely not a good person. He had done a lot of immoral things. She wouldn't take a second look at such a person even if he died in front of her. Just as she was thinking about whether to have Chinese or Western food after the meeting, she felt a strange ray sweep across her body. Someone is going to deal with me. Thea's lazy expression immediately turned vigilant. But 2 seconds later, she found that the meeting was still going on as usual. No one around her noticed anything unusual. There were not many people in the meeting room who knew her true strength. But there were still a few, including Thea's old acquaintance, General Ryan, who was the vanguard against Superman. Seeing that she suddenly became vigilant, the old man was also a little flustered. He did not know what was going on and gave her a questioning look. Thea was a little confused. She was sure that she was not mistaken about the strange energy just now, but she still did not know what kind of energy it was. She wanted to look outside, but the lead in the wall blocked her view. She had no choice but to take out her phone and ask Digger, who was guarding outside as a bodyguard. "There's no signal?" Sia exclaimed softly. Including General Ryan, several people who had been staring at her also took out their phones. They looked up and found that they all had the same thought in their eyes. Why is there no signal all of a sudden? Their persecution paranoia was no less than Thea's. There was only one thought in their minds. Superman knew that they were having a meeting to discuss him, and he was coming to kill them. The eyes of several heavyweights caused the atmosphere in the meeting room to freeze. At this time, a consortium businessman who was talking about the dangers of Superman on the stage closed his mouth and carefully looked at the people below the stage. A few people who were slow to realize that there was no signal on their phones, and a panic spread among this group of elites. "Shut up, all of you. Let's go out and see what's going on." The one who spoke was Thea's old acquaintance, Lex Luthor. But before he could take action, the door of the meeting room was slammed open. A large group of bodyguards in suits, guards in military uniforms, and secretaries in professional attire rushed in. Luthor's secretary and Thea's bodyguard, Digger, were among them. The group of people did not dare to be negligent. They jostled each other and ran out. "What's going on outside? Is the guy in the red cloak here?" A guy who could not keep his cool asked his bodyguard. The rest of the people, including Thea, listened attentively. The bodyguard found that n number of bigwigs who could only be seen on TV were staring at him. He told them the situation outside with a lisp. There is a huge glass dome in the sky covering the entire city. Everyone's communication devices can't receive any signal. You will know the specific situation when you see it.